preparing for this show, feeling a little spicy today. Just going to throw that out there right off the top. Little rambly. There are 15 days left in the regular season, at least at the power conference level. Got to tune up these takes. Busiest time of year. And you know it's that time when I wake up in their Hoopstats Slack channel at 2:26 a.m. There's a Megan Gauer post that says, hey, bracketology and the accompanying Substack article, they're good to go. Just grinding late night. Welcome to February. She's the aforementioned bracketologist, Megan Gauer. I'm Rob Joyce. Megan, that whiteboard, I imagine, putting in a 40-hour work week.
Yeah, well, I had to do it on paper this week because I did it in a hotel room in Iowa, but it is what it is.
So, all right, that's at least 11:26 p.m.
Yeah, a little more reasonable.
Just like 5-hour energies, straight cocaine. I'm kidding. Don't do drugs, kids. Like what? Coffee?
A lot of coffee.
A lot of coffee. Luckily for you, last night wasn't overly late because there weren't, by comparison to some Thursdays, weren't as many good games. However, we'll start right off the top. There's a lot to unpack from Vanderbilt's. The final score was very flattering to Texas. I'll say Vanderbilt's dismantling of Texas last night in Nashville. What were your takeaways?
I was surprised, to be honest. Like, we all know Vandy's a good team. There was a world in my head where they won that game. I don't think I imagined a world where Vandy went in there and dismantled, as you said, Texas the way that they did. Like, it was from pretty much the start. They dominated the game. They were up big after the first quarter, built the lead into the second quarter, stayed up. Like you said, the fourth quarter, Texas made a little run, made the final score look not too bad, but like Vanderbilt was in control of that entire game.
Yeah, I'm gobsmacked. Like you, I didn't really see Vandy winning. I think I said last week, the only way Vandy wins is if they shoot the heck out of the ball. And they did. Like they were shooting 60% for 3 quarters basically, and then went in a little slump in the fourth. They made 9 threes. But I did not foresee the manner in which it won because, yes, it helps when you make 9 threes. You shoot 51% for the game. I didn't see them out rebounding Texas. I didn't see them having more points in the paint than Texas. And I didn't see them basically, Vic Schaefer kind of went off last night, basically out-toughing Texas. I know we're going to talk about Michaela Blakes. We're going to talk about Aubrey Galvin. I thought Aaliyah Del Rosario, I don't know if you can change a game 3 minutes in, but she set the tone of the game, and she didn't even score. She played 12 minutes, 4 rebounds, a couple of blocks. I don't think that tells nearly the story. If she came in that first quarter and basically set the tone for how at least the next 2.5 quarters were going to go.
Yeah, exactly. I thought she played really well in that first part of the game. Like you said, set the tone. Obviously we'll talk about Blakes and Galvin, but like Sasha Washington too was just like so many hustle plays in that game. Like I thought she really made a huge impact, and it somewhat comes up through in her box score, but I don't think enough.
No, absolutely. I said she was the key to the South Carolina game. I think she actually had 10 points in the South Carolina game, but 9 rebounds last night. You can see what they learned from that Gamecock game, right? Obviously, one's at home, one's on the road, so it's different. But South Carolina was 56-24 points in the paint, and they won fairly handily on the glass. I think you could see how Vandy, yes, obviously they have the capability. It helps when Justine Passat comes out and makes your first 3 threes. You could see the emphasis on, we cannot lose this game in the interior, especially early on. We have to come out and try to throw the first punch. In this case, Vandy did. Now, they're 24-2, and they just beat the team that, in theory, is one of the consensus top 4. I've been as guilty as anyone pushing that narrative all year. Vandy's got to be a 1 seed as of right now today, right?
I was looking at it last night because I was like, it's going to be close. I think Texas stays there. I just think that Texas has the bulk of top wins that Texas has still is over top of what Vanderbilt has. It's close. I think it'll be interesting. I think we're supposed to get a seed reveal Saturday. Yeah, Saturday.
Yes,
so tomorrow. So
the lead up to South Carolina LSU will get it.
I wouldn't be shocked to see Vandy on the 1 line, but I think the metrics still favor Texas being there.
Are you ready for the outrage if that happens? Mind you, there is a month to go. This is not set in stone. Colorado was a 1 seed for the first bracket reveal 2 years ago. They didn't host. Yeah. So there's a lot of flexibility
a
here.
lot can happen.
Yes, but I'm not going to be outraged, but I'd be in there of saying, all right, 5, the rankings, they are what they are. 5 just beat 4 by 16. And frankly, it was flattering to Texas that it was 16. and you're going to put Texas over Vandy.
Yeah, and I can understand why people would be annoyed by that, but I think you have to look at, like, the whole picture, and, like, Texas has wins over South Carolina, over UCLA. They have just a higher volume of quad one wins. They've got that is like a bad loss, but it's not gonna come as through as much of a bad loss volume-wise, right? Like, they didn't lose by 5, they lost by 6.
16.
Um, but it doesn't look as bad on paper as Vanderbilt losing by 20 plus whatever it was to South Carolina. Like, I think when you put it on paper, it still favors Texas, so it's gonna come down to, does the committee favor that head-to-head result? But it's 1 game, and typically, I think we see that 1 game doesn't tend to matter that much.
Okay. I have a couple of bigger picture Vandy things, but we'll talk Texas here for a second since it's more game specific. What do you make of Vic Schaefer explained it afterwards, and it kind of made sense that Brianna Preston was playing really well, but this is the second time. Remember the first the LSU loss, not the LSU win, the LSU loss. Roy Harmon didn't play in the fourth quarter. That game, didn't play in the fourth quarter last night. Didn't play the last 15 minutes last night. What do you make of that?
It doesn't make a lot of sense to me, to be honest. Like, I get what he said about Preston playing well, but I don't know, like, Rory Harmon is like your All-American, right? Like, it's alongside Booker, like she is your one of your best top 2 players. They made that run in the fourth, like, cut it to, like, 11, I think, at some point with, like, enough time on the clock that, like, if you figured it out in that moment, they maybe could have won the game. Like, it wasn't out of question. Like, I didn't really think they were going to, but it made Vanderbilt sweat a little bit. And you don't have, like, your most disruptive defender on the court and, like, your, one of your go-to players. It's just puzzling to me. And like you said, we saw in the LSU game too. And I mean, obviously, Vic Schaefer is the coach that's won a national championship and everything else, so, like, he knows what he's doing, but it's just kind of baffling from a outsider perspective to watch.
So you recruit obviously years in advance. So Brianna
Mhm,
Preston's kind of the heir apparent to Rory Harmon, and then Harmon opts to come back, which totally in her right to do. Missed basically an entire year because of a knee injury, but that leaves Preston, who very easily could have entered the transfer portal. I know earlier this year, Vic Schaefer's credited her for just kind of biding her time. But the problem is they're both your old school classic point guard.
mhm,
So you can't really play both because whoever's off ball isn't going to score a lot. They're
right,
both Sue Bird point guards, for lack of a better,
mhm,
layman's explanation. So you can't really play them. Otherwise, you're playing like 4-on-5, 3-on-5
mhm,
offensively. I think it's Preston played well. She had 7 assists,
mhm.
two turnovers. I get it. Your point about the defense, though, and I think Texas was like 1 bucket away from like tightening Vandy up.
Mhm.
Didn't get it. Vandy hit a 3. That was that. It is interesting. It's interesting that the 2 of the 3 times Texas has kind of been needing to play catch up. They didn't. And then the other part, we've begged forever for Texas to shoot more threes, right? They shot 15 last night. They only made 3 of them, but they shot 15. This is maybe talking out of both sides of my mouth. I didn't like a lot of the threes they took. It felt like they were trying to make a 12-point shot versus like if you take 15 threes in the flow of your offense, that's great. That's awesome. Even 10 threes in the flow of your offense. Felt like they were like, oh, we're down 16. Let me get the ball and chuck it.
Yeah, I felt like that too. I felt like, I mean, they're just a team that doesn't take a lot of threes, and like you said, they weren't like, oh, they just got a bunch of like really good looks, and that's why they were taking them. It felt like desperation, and like they were out of their routine. It was like they got down in that first quarter, and then they like didn't know what to do about it, and kind of were like trying to solve it in one possession in like the second quarter when you had so much time to figure it out from there. And then back to the Rory Harmon part. I don't know. I just like, she's right. Like, she's your senior point guard. Like, you gotta. I feel like you gotta be able to trust a player like that in in those moments. And I just think, yeah, it's baffling to me,
Yeah,
to be
I th-
honest.
and I think the kind of ironic part is I tweeted in the third quarter that Vandy was up 26-16 points in the paint. From the time I hit send onward, sorry, Vandy, I jinxed you. It was 20-6 Texas in the paint when they made their run. If they had started this a quarter sooner, 5 minutes sooner of doing what they do, It could have been a very different finish. Maybe not the result, but maybe it's a 4-point game with a minute to go.
Right.
And at that point, who knows what happens? And then this is maybe the hottest take I've ever had on this show. So call me, because like 40% of me, 60% of me thinks I'm an idiot. I've never fully gotten Madison Booker. Like, she got 20 points last night. It took her 20 shots. And it feels like that's every big game. I feel like that's what it is. Like, it's like I've never seen her in a big game. It's great that she can score 28 against Missouri. She can score 28 against Northwest State. Great. Like, 20 points on 20 shots last night, which was fine. 8 points, 1 of 6 shooting Kentucky. 18 on 6 of 21 LSU. She was good against Oklahoma. I'll give her that. She's never been great against South Carolina. 24 points in the loss on 25 shots. Am I, like, call me an idiot?
No, I do feel like there's a reason that she doesn't get talked about next to, like, right, like, we're not talking about Madison Booker winning National Player of the Year. She doesn't get talked about in the same way that Sarah Strong gets talked about or Juju got talked about last year. Like, it's like she's a step back from that top discussion, and I think that's why. It's like, yeah, like, I think she gets put in that, like, All-American top conversation because Texas is really good, and there's just a natural, okay, well, she's the best player on Texas, so if Texas is really good, they've gotta have an All-American, they've gotta have, a player that we're talking about kind of for National Player of the Year, that kind of thing. But you're right, like, it seems like every big game, and I think that was the big thing with, like, the South Carolina, Texas games. Was it last year, I think, where they, like, did they lose both in the regular season? I can't remember. I think they
Yes.
lost both in the regular season, one-handedly, and it was
they
like
split in the regular season.
Okay.
And then they got in the SEC championship.
Got it.
And then lost in the Final Four.
Yeah. And it was like she has to be better in those moments to be kind of in that top conversation of players, because, like, that's then you think about, like, I mean, like, talk about Michaela Blake's, right? Like, the limelight is the biggest, and that's when she's the best.
Yes, if I don't blink twice at Madison Booker being one of the 10 best players in the sport.
Yeah.
15 best players in the sport. I blink once you get to 5. She was very good against Baylor this year, 27. North Carolina, ranked team, 4 of 12. South Carolina the first time, 7 of 16, which is fine. UCLA, 6 of 17. That's just this year. Go back to last year. Final Four. She actually got off to a very good start in the Final Four. Got into foul trouble. Non-factor the rest of the way. 8 of 17 in the Elite 8. That's fine. 6 of 15 in the Sweet 16. Fine. Wasn't good against South Carolina in the SEC title game. Was good against LSU in the SEC semifinals. I'll give her that. 7 of 22 South Carolina in the win last year. 3 of 19 in the loss in the regular season. At this point, it's a trend. I'll go back to her freshman year. What'd she do in the Elite 8? 8 of 21. Like, she's an athletic marvel. She's 6'1" and has like a 6'7" wingspan and can do a little bit of everything, but she's not a great shooter. She doesn't get to the rim as well as, like, Michaela Blake's does. So I don't mean to like, it sounds overly harsh for what I actually think of Madison Booker. I just don't think she's one of this, like, consensus first team slam dunk All-American that is kind of her reputation. And I just don't see it in big games to this point.
Yeah. No, I think that's fair.
All right. Speaking of top 5 players in the sport, I'm going to give you a chance to maybe backtrack on something you said last week, where you said the National Player of the Year race to you was not very interesting. Would you like to change that statement?
I still don't think I'll change that statement, and that's just more speaks to what I think of Sarah Strong, because, like, I mean, we've both said this at points, like, I fully think we are living in a world where Sarah Strong leaves UConn as, like, the best player to ever have played there, and, like, obviously that comes with one of the best players to ever play basketball, period, right? I think her versatility is just kind of unmatched, and the way that she can like just do so many things is something that no one else in the country can replicate. So like to me, it's still very clear that she should be the national player of the year. But like if you're gonna pick a second one, it's absolutely Michaela Blake's, and like what she's doing for this Vandy team is incredible. And she's so good and so fun to watch. I can't put her in the same tier as Sarah Strong.
I see the arguments for both. It's a discussion worth having.
Mhm.
I just don't like, and I expect to some degree tribalism from Vandy side or the UConn side. Although, frankly, I thought the Vandy UConn alliance would be a little stronger, given
Yeah.
Jay Ralph and
It
the
should be
mutual
fan
dislike
bases
of
that love
Tennessee.
each other somewhat,
But
you would think. Yeah.
it's so binary of,
Mhm.
I think Michaela Blake should be the national player of the year. That me, oh, what do you mean? What do you mean, Sarah? Like, you hate Sarah Strong? No, that's not what this
No.
person is saying.
Yeah.
Or Sarah Strong is best player in the country. Oh, Michaela, like that doesn't mean they dislike Michaela Blake's. Like,
Right.
beyond the court, these two are like two of the most likable players in the country. If you've ever
Right.
heard them speak or gotten the opportunity to talk to them, easiest people in the world to like and root for. There's two sides to this, and I hate both sides. There's a bias because it's Sarah Strong. It's preordained. This isn't a question like this discussion is not of who would a WNBA GM take first.
Right.
Which, yeah, that doesn't mean Blake's is any less deserving because her team needs more. UConn has more talent 1 through 8 than
Right.
Vandy does. She's Blake's is putting up 30 a night because it's the best league in America, in the best league of America as a sophomore. So on the strong side, there's a little bit of, oh, well, it's just she's Sarah Strong. I get it. I understand why people like Blake's. On the flip side, there's a big recency bias with Blake's because she's putting up all these monster numbers against all these great SEC teams. And yes, she has 4 straight 30-point games in February. That's amazing. And yes, Sarah Strong plays in the Big East. Well, don't forget what Sarah Strong has done against some pretty good teams this year.
Right. And then I think if you just like took Vandy's schedule and flipped it, like it pretty much looks like UConn's schedule. Like UConn played the gauntlet more at the first half of their season because they play in a weak conference, where Vanderbilt's non-conference left some to be desired.
Right. UConn's non-conference strength of schedule was second. Vandy's was 221st.
Right.
So remember, Strong in November, 25, 10, and 5 against Louisville. 29, 13, 7 assists, 5 steals, 3 blocks against Ohio State. They're in the top 10, top 15. 16 points, 20 rebounds, 6 assists against Michigan. 23, 7, 4 assists, 6 steals against Iowa, top 15 team. 26, 9, and 4 against Tennessee. 18 and 11 against Notre Dame. I feel like I'm having to defend Sarah Strong, who, mind you, this is not part of the National Player of the Year discussion because it's last year, but we're human, right? Yeah. We remember her last 3 games last year against 1 seeds. Sure, they were shorthanded. 22, 17, and 4 against Jujulis USC. 22 and 8 in the national semifinal against UCLA. 24, 15, 5 assists, 3 blocks in the national championship against South Carolina. And she did it all on 66% shooting. That doesn't matter this year. But for the folks, if you're on the Blake side and just trying to bash Sarah Strong, you're not going to bash Sarah Strong because she plays in the Big East. Get out of here with that.
Yeah.
But if you're going to bash Michaela Blake's because you're on the Sarah Strong side, get out of here with that because she keeps putting up 30 points every freaking game against SEC teams, and she's done it for 2 years now.
Yeah, no, I'm not here for bashing them either. They're both fantastic players, and it's totally fine to have a strong opinion about who should be the national player of the year. But like, yeah, I mean, like I very strongly feel that it should be Sarah Strong, but at the same time, like, think Michaela Blake is awesome, and she's so much fun to watch. And like, if Sarah Strong wasn't playing basketball, like she would be the national player of the year.
If your argument is for your player, that's great. That's awesome. If your argument is against the other, you're wrong.
No.
Sorry. And now, which leads us to another freshman of the year race of Aubrey Galvin.
Yes.
She's the freshman of the year. I don't think it's close.
Yeah, that one I actually do agree with. Like, I think she's been, and I think it's especially like she wasn't a top 100 recruit, like all this stuff. And but how they missed that, I don't know, because she absolutely looks like the best freshman in the country.
I mean, Michaela Blake's, after Monday's demolition of Oklahoma, said she's their most valuable player because she's the straw that stirs the whole drink and has the whole year. And I get Aaliyah Chavez, who's so streaky as a shooter. Jazzy Davidson leads USC in most things. In instances like this, one's the point guard on the 4th best team in the country.
Yeah.
One's the point guard on a team that's a 9 seed. And should that matter? I don't know. But again, the humans vote on this,
Right.
not computers. So yeah, if you game a one-on-one, Jazzy Davidson probably beats Aubrey Galvin. What Aubrey Galvin is doing is the most impressive thing any freshman's done nationally this year.
Yeah.
And it helps that, yes, she has a super sidekick, and maybe Jazzy Davidson doesn't. It doesn't matter to me.
Yeah.
All
Yeah,
right.
I was just so impressed with her last night. Like some of the shots that she was able to find her way to the rim on, and just like, I mean, she's been great all season, but I thought her and Blake's were just fantastic last night.
Right,
And like Texas's defense did not know what to do with them, which is like Texas has a very good defense. Like that's a big compliment.
Yes, it does. All right, there were other games on Thursday and this week. How about TCU? Best performance we've seen from the Frogs in a while.
Yeah. I was getting a little worried about TCU after, I mean, they lost to Colorado over the weekend, I think it was. But they had a nice game yesterday against Baylor, a nice win over Baylor. And I thought in particular, Olivia Miles was just fantastic. I mean, 10 of 20 for three. That's a whole lot of threes to take, but it's fine when you make 50% of them. And she looked really good last night.
There was a lot of hype with her going into the season, right? She's the most high-profile transfer. She's going to TCU, who was coming off an Elite Eight run. And then their non-conference wasn't great. And then they looked a little lackadaisical. They dipped a little in Big 12 play, and kind of, they're outside the top 15. So it seems like that hype, that the conversation has died down. She's been so good this year. She's averaging 27 points, 7 rebounds, basically, on over 50% shooting. And that was before she had 40 last night. So I don't know what the numbers are now with 10 threes. They've probably gone up. Seems like she's not getting enough appreciation because TCU isn't in that. Like, they're not Vanderbilt. They're not trying to break that glass ceiling into the top 4 with last year's Final Four teams. Man, when she plays like that, and then Marta Suarez was also very good last night. And the defense showed a few wobbles, but on the whole, obviously someone puts up 40 points, you're going to be hard to beat. If Miles plays the way that, like 10% and 75% of the way she played last night, TCU's going to be hard to beat in the second weekend.
Oh, 100%. I think if they can get that, obviously she's not going to score 40 points and hit 10 30s every night. But if she, like you said, 75% of that, and it doesn't have to mean 75% of the points, like they are going to be tough to beat. I think the pair of her and Suarez, when they're on, like they were last night, I mean, Suarez had 27, makes this team really, really good and really tough to beat, even when they didn't get a whole lot from everyone else last night. And it quite frankly didn't matter because those two combined for 67 points, which is all that Baylor scored.
Yes. A performance that TCU, I don't think they needed it per se. I think the fan, the observer kind of needed to see it to prove that TCU, they're a worthy host, that they're capable of making some sort of noise in March. Because frankly, I mean, Baylor, they got off to a slow start, but they hung around for like 25 minutes. But TCU just had an answer, and then they went nuclear, and that was that. Baylor has a 12 next to their name. At least they will this week. That'll change next week. To me, they're an almost team. They've beaten basically everyone they're supposed to beat. If I pulled up the top 20 right now, I don't think I would pick Baylor to beat any of them. Not a one.
Yeah, I was going to say, you can't convince me that that's the 12th best team in the country. I did want to give Dariana Little Page Buggs a little bit of credit because I think we've talked a lot about Baylor in these big games and they're just not getting enough from their seniors. And I did thought she played really well last night, and she had 14 points, 5 rebounds. Like, they got more of what they need to see from her in these games. But yeah, it just feels like every time outside of like the Duke game, which like how much did that really mean? Every time that there's been like a big game this season, Baylor comes up short.
Yeah, put up a fight against Iowa on a neutral floor, lost 57-52, blown out by Texas, lost by a point to Texas Tech. Iowa State was ranked 10th. They're currently unranked. Take that what you will. They beat them by 2. They've basically beaten the teams that you would expect Baylor to beat, some by narrow margins, some by bigger margins in Big 12 play. went on the road to West Virginia, committed 30 turnovers and lost. Hosted TCU last night. Slow start, couldn't quite get over the hump, and then they just got, I don't even blame them. They just got punched in the face by a billion 3-pointers. That not a whole lot you can do. But this if I ran 1,000 simulations of this season, like 950 of them, Baylor goes to the Sweet 16 and exits quietly.
Yeah. If they even make it that far. Like, this is a team to me that is in danger depending what matchup they have in that second round, that like they don't even make it to the second weekend.
See, that's the thing, though. If they're hosting, I think if they're playing a 5 seed that they probably should be, I think they'll beat them. Because they mostly beat the team they're supposed to beat, and then they're just going to go play a 1 seed in the Sweet 16 and lose by 20.
That's fair. Do they host? Like, I think that's very much up in the air right now.
Let's see. They are.
I can't remember if I have them hosting currently.
Their net is 28th. That's not great.
Yeah.
3 and 4 quad 1, 5 and 1 quad 2. So what's that? 8 and 5, and then wins above bubble. Wins above bubble. They are 12th. I mean, why not Baylor?
Yeah, I mean that's a question on a lot of these teams right now. Is why not this team? I think I have them second to last in that group right now. So like they're in, but they're certainly not securely in there.
Yeah. Other Thursday results. There was a lot. What are your thoughts on everything surrounding Tennessee last night? Kim Caldwell basically going full nuclear, calmly, but just absolutely throwing everyone, including herself, under the bus after the debacle against South Carolina. Then Kelly Harper's coming to town. All the storylines of, is Kelly Harper going to come to Tennessee and win in her first game back? And nope. Extreme no. So what are your just kind of takeaways of everything in Knoxville on what's been a very interesting 2 weeks?
Yeah, it has been a very interesting 2 weeks. I mean, I think the Kelly Harper coming in and win things got like a little overblown. Like, yeah, Tennessee had 2 bad losses to UConn and South Carolina. That doesn't mean they're going to lose to a Mizzou team that I think are they even over 500? I think they're sub 500.
16 and 11, they're good. They're
just, okay, all right, so not too bad.
They're like, year one of a what is I don't think I think they have 1 returning player from last year.
Yeah, no, and like they're not meant like that's not a knock on Kelly Harper at all. It's just like what she inherited, and it's not gonna correct itself overnight. But they're not a tournament team, and like, yes, Tennessee's not going to go beat UConn or go beat South Carolina the way they're playing, but like, they're still a very solid tournament team. Like, going to be somewhere on the top 6 seed lines. Like, they're not, I think, at that much risk. So I thought that was a little overblown, but I do think like all of the comments surrounding the South Carolina loss from Caldwell were interesting. It's just, I feel like there's probably many of those conversations that happen in a locker room after a loss like that, but to come out and say it in like a press conference is, I think, surprising, and not something we see.
Yeah, no one knows her team better than Kim Caldwell, so maybe she thinks. I mean, she kind of clarified on Wednesday. It was uncomfortable. It's not fun, but maybe she thinks, all right, let me go public and just put this program on blast. And I mean, it seemed to work.
Right.
They came out with a little fire in their belly last night. So maybe, as she said, like maybe that's the turning point. Then they'll look back in a month when they're sitting there in the Sweet 16 or the Elite Eight going, it all flipped when we got embarrassed by South Carolina and the whole world's basically laughing at us. And our coach went out publicly and said, we basically quit again.
Yeah.
And the players quit.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. In my work, like she's got, I mean,
she knows better than we do.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I mean, they looked much better last night, so hopefully that is like the turning point and they've figured something out. But we've got to see it against someone other than Mizzou to be convinced.
And then one more SEC game. Then there's another Big Ten game I want to talk about. Florida, Oklahoma. As we all thought, the marquee game or the most competitive game on SEC Network Plus last night involving a former Big 12 team was Oklahoma, Florida, as projected. What do you take away from Oklahoma, who, I mean, Vandy just blitzed them on Monday, ran them out of the gym in the first half. And it seemed like that carried over to the first half. And now you're playing catch up against a Florida team. Florida, they're not going to make the tournament. They have an exceptional talent, an all-American type talent in Liv McGill. And if they were in the Big 12 or the ACC, they very well might be on the bubble. That's just, they're in the SEC. That's how it works. They're going to take a lot of losses, but this is a competitive Florida team and they're playing catch up. And ultimately they won. What do you make of the Sooners?
I think for them, it's going to be really hard to predict what the outcome is going to be until Aaliyah Chavez finds a way to get some consistency, because I think this team kind of goes as she goes to an extent right now, because she takes a lot of shots, and like I think they want that. Like, she's a talented player, but when she goes 2 for 13 and shoots 15% from the floor, like that's going to be tough. And like against a Florida team, you can still win with that. But when she has nights like that against Vanderbilt or things like that, it makes it a lot more difficult for this team to win. And I think, I mean, she's a freshman, it's going to take time, but until they find a way to have her be more consistent, I think it's going to be really tough. And then the other thing that just continues to baffle me is like Reagan Beers has to take more shots on this team. Like it feels like there's just a missed opportunity there. Like, she's your All-American, but she took 6 shots last night in the Vanderbilt game. I think she was like 8 of 9 from the floor, but like she's got to take more than 9 shots. That's working.
In the last 7 games, Reagan Beers has taken single-digit shots in 6 of them. She had 10 against Vandy. That's the exception. She was 9 for 10. I'm with you. I don't get it. Aaliyah Chavez, very talented player. There's got to be a point where, she doesn't have it tonight. There's enough elsewhere. Peyton Verhulst has played like 135 college games. Zaya Van saved the day last night. She was 4 for 5 from 3. Reagan Beers is an All-American. Spread the love around a little bit, because this isn't like Vandy. I know Galvin's there. Vandy's going to basically live or die with Michaela Blakes. Michaela Blake shoots 2 of 13. Vandy's not winning against NCAA tournament competition. Leah Chavez shoots 2 of 13. You can. Maybe if she starts 2 of 9, go, all right, let's settle down for a bit. Let's get Reagan Beers some touches.
Yeah.
That's it. Because, I mean, they go through these stretches where the shooting just disappears, and their defense is not good enough to overcome that.
Right. Yeah, to me, it's like they could solve so many issues by just having Beers take more shots per game. It reminds me of, like, on a worse scale, but like there was when Aaliyah Boston was at South Carolina, there was times in games where they like struggled and they would like, it felt like they would forget that Aaliyah Boston was on the floor, and like if they just got her the ball, it would probably fix their issues. Obviously, I mean, like they won most of their games at that time, so but it was like in patches where they struggled that seemed to be an issue, and it's like that on a way larger scale for Oklahoma. It's like they forget that they have an All-American center that can score against pretty much any team in the country, and that most teams can't match up with.
I mean, this is a recent thing though, because I'm looking at the game log here from January 11th when they lost to Kentucky. From that point all the way through game 1, she only had 1, 2, 3, 4 games where she had single-digit shots, and it was Maryland Eastern Shore where they won by 50. It was Coppin State where they won by 50. It was Kansas City. And then there was the UCLA game. I think she battled foul trouble. So like this is a new thing. So I don't know. Maybe it's the SEC defense is going, we're not letting Reagan Beers beat us. I'm not basketball savvy enough to grind through tape and tell you this is what a team's doing defensively. Maybe it's just as simple as we're taking her away because we're going to let Aaliyah Chavez shoot them out of a game.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what it is. All right. One more game from Thursday that I had note on. I'm done with Nebraska. They all year we've said they're a fine tournament team. Are they a tournament team? Because right now they don't look like a tournament team. They should be on the bubble. They've done absolutely nothing to deserve making the tournament.
Yeah.
Most recently, a no-show against Minnesota. One of these games you got to win.
Right. They're still there, but like each one of these losses, and now that's 4 in a row, like they're slowly playing their way into being more and more questionable of whether they're actually going to make the field. And if I remember right, they might yet to have a quad 1 win, and I think that's going to be a problem for them.
Their best wins are Illinois and Virginia.
Yep, they're 0-8 in quad 1. To me, like, I think that's going to be problematic for them if they don't find a way to get it, because they keep losing these games. They're going to keep falling. They're going to end up on the bubble. If you don't have a quad one win on the bubble, to me, it's really hard to put you in the field because you start looking at you're up against teams like Rhode Island doesn't win the A10 tournament. Guess what? They've got a quad one win. Even like there's just all these like other teams that are going to come into the picture that if had 3 chances or 2 chances to get a quad one win and have one, and you had 8 and you didn't get a single one, how do you end up in the field over another team like this? Like it's really hard to make an argument for that.
They have Iowa, then they're a West Coast trip, Oregon and Washington before they close with Rutgers. If they win, heck, even one of those games at Oregon, at Washington, or home to Iowa, this is a different conversation. Same one we've had about Notre Dame the last couple of weeks, and they got to win to ease the pressure. Oregon got a couple of wins to ease the pressure. USC beat Iowa in mid-February. Like, we're not talking about the Trojans in February. They're just trudging along. They're fine. Nebraska's at that team now where the pressure's on. Are you going to win one of these games eventually? Because you're right. When you're arguing a 10-loss Big Ten team over a 2-loss mid-major, all the argument is, oh, well, we played a harder schedule, yada, yada. Yeah, the flip side of that is Nebraska's had 8 opportunities to beat someone worth a damn, and they haven't done it.
Right.
So that was a result that caught my eye. Anything else from last night? I wasn't as locked in last night. I was playing around with some things online, watching Vandy do what they did. What happened in the ACC last night? Syracuse, Pitt, nothing. Oh, Clemson. Yeah. Double overtime win over Georgia Tech. That's more of a that's not a good win. They avoided disaster there.
Right. Avoided. We might end up on the wrong side of the bubble after that.
Here's one. Virginia Tech, Stanford. Virginia Tech went to Palo Alto and won by 12. Stanford, all of a sudden they have 10 losses because they free-falled 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 of 7 they've lost, and the win was at Pitt, the worst team in the conference.
They are quickly playing their way onto the bubble. And Virginia Tech is doing a nice favor to themselves with that win of playing their way onto the right side of it.
Stanford has Virginia on Sunday, and then they end the regular season against Clemson.
Those are important games for Stanford.
Games for Stanford. I mean, frankly,
you want to be in the tournament, you got to win those.
Yeah, because I mean, the argument very well on Selection Sunday could come between we have Stanford, Virginia, Clemson, and Virginia Tech, and 2 of them are going to make it, and 2 are going to be left out. I wouldn't want to be the one that has not beaten any of the others in that grouping.
Yeah, and has lost to them all in the last 2 weeks. Yeah.
So that's an impactful one. Wednesday, opening possession in East Lansing. Lauren Betts got an easy layup, and I went, uh-oh. And it never got better for the Spartans. That's, in hindsight, like, that's a bad matchup for Michigan State, right?
Yeah. It is a horrible matchup for Michigan State. The size, just the fact that, like, UCLA just has so many weapons. Like, you can't slack off of anyone. So, we either double team Warren Betts to try to slow her down. Like, then you're going to leave someone Hawkins wide open. Like, what are you going to do?
Yeah, 4 starters in double figures. Betts had 22 on 10 of 14 shooting with 7 boards and best passing big in the country. She had 5 assists. So, yeah, you double her, and she's just going to find whoever. Doesn't matter. Whoever. Rice, Hawkes, Neepkins, whoever it's open, she's going to find them. Yeah, that was Michigan State now is 20-5. None of their losses are bad losses per se, although it's one thing to lose to Maryland and UCLA at home. They weren't competitive in either one. Michigan on Sunday on the road. They close with Ohio State. So they're not fully locked into that hosting picture yet.
No. Honestly, I think the list of teams that are fully locked into that hosting picture right now is rather short. It is very volatile.
Let's see. UConn. We did this a few weeks ago. It probably hasn't changed. UConn, UCLA, South Carolina, Texas, LSU, Michigan, Vandy, Louisville. I just listed off 8 teams.
Yeah.
I mean, all of a sudden, like, Oklahoma has 6 losses.
Yeah.
TCU, they're close.
I would put maybe like Ohio State, I think, is pretty solidly locked in there. Like, I think they're in pretty good shape.
So that's 10, we'll say 10 teams. And then
chaos.
There's
For the next
20
yeah.
teams to take the next 6 spots.
Yeah.
Maybe not that long, but like 16 teams.
Yeah, yeah, it's just absolute chaos, and it's gonna be very interesting, and I obviously will get a preview of it tomorrow. That those last 6 spots could be all of those teams on Selection Sunday, it could be none of those teams on Selection Sunday that are there currently. It's a mess, and it's
Iowa
all
could
very
be
close. Iowa, I
yeah.
think, is probably the closest to, like, if you're adding one more to that locked-in group, probably Iowa.
Well, I was just transitioning because they avoided a 6 loss, a nice win over
Yeah.
Washington. A very even game. The difference, big second quarter for the Hawkeyes. Otherwise, it was basically back and forth. Chit Chat's starting to find it.
Yeah.
2 straight 20-point games, at least 4 assists in 7 straight games, and they're all against tournament teams, if not top 25 teams. If she's pulling the strings and providing that scoring threat as well, with the 2 inside of Sulky and Hayden, like Chit Chat, I think is kind of the key to all of this.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, she's been good all season, but, like, if she can find that next level, I think it takes Iowa to the next level, and, I mean, an important win for them because they had, like, a couple of kind of string of losses for a little bit, but just when they find it, I think it looks really good. It's just, can they do it consistently?
Yeah, and then one other note from Wednesday. I've been skeptical of Arizona State's tournament hopes all year. Beat Utah. I can't be a doubter anymore. The last 2 midweeks, they beat Oklahoma State and Utah. Those aren't quad 1 wins, but they're tournament caliber teams. They lost to Baylor by 3. And at this point, they have 20 wins. They're going to finish with at least 22 wins in the regular season. That's a lot of wins to leave a power conference team out of the tournament.
Yeah, no, I think they're bubbly, but, like, I think they're pretty safe with all the events of the last couple of weeks for the ACC.
Yeah, I keep comparing them to the Minnesota team last year that missed the tournament, and I went back and looked. That Gopher team had 20 regular season wins total and then went one and done in the Big Ten tournament.
Yeah.
Arizona State, I expect to finish with 22 at minimum.
Mhm.
Of course, I didn't jot down who they play. There's a reason. Pulling it up. Yeah, so they have 20 wins right now. I expect them to beat Arizona, like it's a rivalry game, and then beat Houston. So that's 22. They can beat Iowa State. They could beat BYU. They could beat Texas Tech. Do I expect them to go 3-0? No. But like they can get someone in that grouping, and that's 23 wins going into the Big 12 tournament.
Yeah. Also, I feel like we haven't talked about Texas Tech in a little bit, but, like, why not them to host too? They beat
You and I are on the same page
TCU.
today.
Yeah. Last weekend, like, they quietly are, like, I don't have them quite in yet, but they are certainly in the running for one of those spots.
So I have this written down somewhere. Let me find it. So I get their net is 28th. They actually have a quad 3 loss that drags them down. They're 24th in the WAB, wins above bubble. Flip side, they're 23-3 in a power league. At some point, like, I don't care if your non-conference strength schedule was bad. I don't care what you think of the Big 12. It's power league. That's a hell of a lot of wins and not many losses.
Yeah.
At some point, like, the metrics are a little down on them compared to maybe the eye test. At some point, you have to look up from the piece of paper and go, that's a lot of wins.
Yeah. I wouldn't be shocked. I know I haven't quite pulled the trigger and plug them in, but, like, if we see their name on the screen tomorrow, I wouldn't be surprised.
I'd be disappointed if we didn't, frankly. One other note from Tuesday, we'll stay in the Big 12. Still a very uphill climb for BYU, but they positively needed to beat Iowa State, and they did. They're still probably out because they're 55th in the net. They just lost. Don't lose consecutive games to non-tournament teams by 25 or more in February. That's not a recipe for success.
Not good.
But they're not dead. They're just like 5 feet under after beating the Cyclones. Am I wrong?
Yeah, you're correct. They're in that, like, probably first 4 out-ish territory, maybe next 4 out, but yeah, their net rating is not gonna. They dropped to 56 this morning. I think this just updated. So it's a tough range to be in. Yeah, like, I don't think they're, like, totally, top 60. Like, you're probably fine, but I think you start just looking at, the big one, 0-4 and quad 1, like, tough. I think when you get to that, like, true, like, bubble territory, like, I think that becomes hard. Even if you put them up against, like, this is where I start to struggle, right? Like, if Fairfield doesn't win the MAC, well, Fairfield has 2 quad 1 wins, and they've, likely played themselves out of an at-large because they lost a Q3 and a Q4 game, but BYU also has a Q3 loss, and I don't have any quad one wins. So if I'd put those teams up against each other, I'd put Fairfield in it.
Right. What weighs more, 2 quad one wins or a quad 4 loss? That's a heck of a question.
Yeah, but I think when you're looking at it in like the whole there, it's like, okay, well, like, I don't know. Like if I put those two resumes next to each other and you've got a power conference league team that hasn't picked up a quad one, like I'd rather see Fairfield in the tournament.
I'm with you. I know,
but I don't know what the committee feels.
I know of the powers that be in college sports. I know that they don't go by what we say.
Yeah.
Things like that. One other note from that game was Iowa State's coach Bill Fennelly postgame, basically asking why the Big 12 doesn't get any credit. The exact quote was, "When we beat each other up, a lot of national people think our league isn't strong. When other leagues beat each other up, they get credit. I don't understand that necessarily." And I get where he's coming from, and you got to go to bat for your league. My response to that is, which is why Texas Tech is not a lock to host at 23-3 in the Big 12, why Arizona State has 20 wins and is not a lock to make the tournament as we sit here on Valentine's Day. What has the Big 12 done to earn national respect? Because since Baylor won a national title in 2019, the answer is not much.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's what it comes down to is like a lot of these teams in the Big 12, like they didn't play a whole lot of marquee non-conference games. Like you have to earn, like, I mean, even TCU isn't like they're close to a lock to host, but they're not a full lock to host. Like you haven't gotten, like when you have to be at a certain starting point for it to like not like, I don't know how to say this. Like you have to be when all the top of the SEC beats each other up. Well, like those teams have all played non-conference schedules that have proven that they are worthy of top 15 spots in the country. Like they've earned that reputation in the non-conference. Like TCU doesn't have a lot of teams that have done that. Like congrats, you beat up numbers like 150 through 200 in the country. Like that doesn't earn you that reputation.
See, I don't even care about the non-conference. Like LSU plays no one, but
that's fair.
The big thing is they win in March. In March.
Yeah, that's true.
Here's since Baylor won the national title in 2019. So we'll start with the 2021 tournament. Here's what they've done. Last year, TCU made the Elite Eight, K-State made the Sweet 16. That's it. 24, Texas made the Elite Eight, Colorado and Baylor made the Sweet 16. 23, Utah and Colorado made the Sweet 16. 2022, Texas made the Elite Eight, Iowa State made the Sweet 16. 2021, Texas and Baylor lost in the Elite Eight. Arizona's the national runner-up. You can't boast Texas anymore. They are not in your conference. They don't count. Arizona wasn't in the conference when they made their run, and they've been a complete afterthought.
Disaster since then. Yeah.
So you're asking for same credit as other power leagues when you basically have TCU made an Elite Eight once, a couple of teams made the Sweet 16, and that's it. Win in March.
Yeah.
That's my response to that. I don't care. Play a bunch of D2s in the non-conference. Win in March. LSU does it. That's why LSU gets the benefit of the doubt when they schedule the 300th non-conference strength of schedule, because they won a national championship the year they did it. And then they did it again next year, and guess what? They made the Elite Eight. So that's my response to why Big 12 gets no credit. Prove it next month, and you'll get credit. All right, we've 50 minutes. We haven't even talked what's coming. Okay, Friday, tonight, Columbia, Princeton, round 2. This one's at Columbia. Columbia won the first game. Madison St. Rose played last weekend for Princeton. Appears to be fine. That's good. And you're talking quad 1. Did you know Princeton added a quad 1 win this week?
Did they? Over
Rhode Island climbed high enough in the net
that
Princeton now has a second quad 1 win.
Also great for Rhode Island in their at-large chances. Not that I think there's any question, but still.
Yes, they are 45th in the net. They're 21-2 overall. But yeah, Princeton, that could be big for the Tigers. If Rhode Island stays, they have to be 45th or higher. If they stay there, that's good news for Princeton if they don't win the Ivy. Let's get into LSU, South Carolina. Obviously, it's the full Wiley show. Not quite as raw as it would be if it were in Columbia, but still, this is the overarching storyline. It's Saturday night on ABC. Frankly, I still don't quite get why she transferred. She doesn't look a lick different She's
Yeah.
she's unfathomably talented, combined with just some imaginably mind-boggling decision-making at times. And that hasn't changed in 3 years. Outside of that, what are your takeaways from the game?
I'm interested to see, like, we've talked about LSU and, like, how they're so close, like, or probably the closest team to that top four, which, well, I don't know, maybe Vanderbilt disputed that argument last night with the way that they beat Texas. But, um, and, like, I think South Carolina is always a bit of a barometer type game, right? Like, South Carolina, you know, they're going to go win in March. You know, they're really good. And, like, what you do against them, I think, is a really good measuring stick of, like, how good is this team? Actually, obviously, they've already got a win over Texas. Um, but I'm really interested to just kind of see how they stack up against South Carolina. And I don't know, this one, it feels like it should be a close game to me. I don't, like we've talked about it, like, I don't think the talent differential is large. Um,
I
but I
don't
think
know.
we'll get a much better feel for just how good is LSU after this.
I don't know how much it matters because, again, they've won a national title in the
Right.
last 3 years. They haven't beaten South Carolina. Of all the things they've done, what they haven't done is beat the Gamecocks. And really, they haven't come that close. Like, there's no last-second losses here. So I don't know if that matters. I don't know. This is like the high-profile game of the year. The fan bases, the hype around it, even without the full Wiley thing, that just adds to it. Like, this is always probably going to be the highest-rated game of the year. I'm interested how LSU handles the moment. Because remember, Michaela Williams, Flau'jae Johnson, they're upperclassmen. Full Wiley is a junior. Outside of the big three, this is a very young team.
Yeah.
They've played Texas twice. This is different. It's going to be hostile in their favor. Saturday night, team that you can't get off your back is coming to town. All the storylines around it. This is short of like the Final Four, about as high profile a game as you can play in. Jada Richard didn't play meaningfully last year. Amaya Joyner, she's a senior. She spent 3 years at East Carolina. All these freshmen. How do you handle, frankly, Malaysia? How do you handle the insanity of this game? And can you control your emotions early on and get settled in? That's my big seeking out point for LSU is good use of words.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. This is South Carolina team. Yeah, they've got some younger players or players that haven't been in that total situation, but they've got a lot of veteran presence too. And like Raven Johnson at the helm is going to be calm and from the tip in this game. And if LSU isn't, like, it's the type of game where, like, just if you take a quarter to settle in the game, you can pull yourself into even as a 10, 12 point hole. Like, that's a hard thing to climb out again.
What was
South
2 years
Carolina.
ago? It was 17-2, right?
Yeah.
Or 3 years ago, whatever year it was. Where down in LSU, massive. It was like 1 o'clock ABC Sunday. Everyone's hyped, and it was over 5 minutes into the game.
Yeah.
Don't let that happen.
Yeah. And to your point about them not beating South Carolina, like, I do think that matters. Like, yes, they've won a national championship and they're like extremely nationally relevant because of that. But like, in a way, like, I think South Carolina has over the last few years become like the measuring stick in the way that like UConn was for so many years, and the sustained success. And obviously UConn's back there now, but there was like that stretch where UConn hadn't won a title, and it really kind of was like South Carolina was the program that everyone's measuring themselves against, and like there's something meaningful about a win over that program.
This is a hard question for the South Carolina side, I'm going to ask, because I'm going to put it in the context of this is a question on Valentine's Day, not necessarily looking forward. Is this Dawn's best coaching job to this point in the season? It has to be, right? Given they have a new injury every day.
Yeah, I think so, with the injuries, and just like, I think when you like step back and like look at this team, like, they returned important pieces, but like, you're not returning. Well, Joyce Edwards is a superstar in her own right, but like, you're not returning like a national player of the year. You're not bringing back all of your depth from the prior season. Like, I think they've taken a largely unproven team and ended right back where they always are.
The last 2 games where they've had 8 or 9 players and they've had some injury issues, they've played 2 tournament teams and they've won by 86 combined points. This is part of what I love about elite coaches. I've rambled on this before, but sorry, you have to listen to it again. Oh, it's so easy when South Carolina and UConn, and they get all the good players. Like, yeah, they get a lot of McDonald's All-Americans, but so do other people.
Mm-hmm.
The best recruiting rankings of 2022, so the senior class now, UCLA, Oregon, and Oregon State. Oregon State gets a pass. It's not their fault.
Yeah.
Then UConn and South Carolina. 2023, so this junior class, LSU, South Carolina, Arizona, then UConn. It's not just getting All-Americans. It's what do you do with it? And when they do run into crises, do you know where I am? It took 6 players to a Final Four.
Yeah.
Dawn Staley's on track for a 6th straight Final Four. And whether she has 13 players that she can go to like she historically does, or 7, she's going to kick your ass with what she got, apparently. Mm-hmm. That's what they've done this week and this year. So, yeah, it's easy because they get all the good players. I mean, when other people get good players, they don't do what UConn and South Carolina do.
Right.
Yeah. So that's my rant on that. I'm hoping for a good game. It's one of those until South Carolina loses to LSU, I'll go with South Carolina, but I don't, short of like a complete blowout one way or the other, I don't take a whole lot away.
Yeah.
Regardless of the outcome, either of these two teams could wind up in Phoenix. I don't know if LSU can cut down the nets. I know South Carolina is capable of doing so, yes. But still, they're both Final Four games. Other Saturday games: Oklahoma State, Texas. We talked Texas Tech. Excuse me. We talked Texas Tech. Oklahoma State is 0-3 in quad one. I want to like this team. Every time I get excited, they go and score 18 first half points and lose to Kansas State.
Yeah.
Buffs, BYU on Saturday. Colorado all of a sudden, like they I feel like they've kind of flipped with BYU there, where they're like next 4 out. They're kind of on the periphery, but not really. And then you go and beat TCU, and all of a sudden you're right there, last 4 in, first 4 out.
Yeah, they're certainly in the conversation. I think this one is important though. Like I think, well, it's important for both of these teams. If BYU wants any hope of getting back in the field, I think they need a win. And for Colorado, if you're trying to climb your way in, I think this is an important one too.
Quickly, Saturday, if you're looking for some mid-majors, UMass is 9-2 in the MAC. Miami, Ohio is unbeaten in the MAC. They play 20-win Marshall, 20-win Arkansas State. Those two were JMU. Sunbelt's good. You're looking ahead to like a 12-5 upset or like a 13 seed that could scare a 4 seed. I just listed 3 teams that are capable of doing it. Sunday, Michigan State is the game of the year. Or I thought game 1 was the game of the year in East Lansing. Best game I've seen all year. I don't expect necessarily a repeat of round 2. I don't think there's going to be a half-court heave that almost goes in to win it at the buzzer. Michigan has some wiggle room, although does Michigan have like a marquee win yet? No, they have 5 quad 1 wins. They're fine. I don't care if they have a marquee win. They have 5 quad 1 wins. Michigan State, I don't want to say need it. Wouldn't hurt.
Yeah.
Wouldn't hurt. My last ramble of the day, I promise. I need Chrysler Center sold out. Apologies. I don't remember which coach, if it was Kim Barnes-Arico or Robin Freilich, I think after game 1 said how great it was in East Lansing for the game of women's basketball in the state of Michigan. Billion lead changes, went to overtime, tight throughout. This is very much not a Michigan-specific problem, but they're the example here. I need to see butts and seats.
Yeah.
The number 7 team in the country against an arch rival from an hour up the road, ranked 13th on a Sunday. Last week, you failed that test. Chrysler holds 12,707, and there was half that, less than half that, for number 2 UCLA. I don't care that men's basketball played at Ohio State 2 hours prior. Not good. Attendance is still very much an issue in women's basketball. I've seen some things this week of, here's some games that had great attendances. Great. If you're not South Carolina, UConn, Iowa, Iowa State, LSU, or Tennessee, your attendance sucks. That's who averages 10,000 seats people a game. 6 teams. You know how many men's basketball teams get 10K? 36. You know how many women's teams get even 5,000 a game? 5,000. 22. Compared to 92 for men's basketball. I'm not sure, frankly, why this isn't drawing Corey Close's eye or more, that UCLA averages fewer than 5,500 people. More people watch Penn State men's basketball, 2-12 in the Big Ten, Utah men's basketball, 1-10 in the Big 12, Pitt men's basketball, than they do UCLA, Oklahoma, Michigan State, Michigan, Vandy, or Baylor women's. To be clear, this is not this is in no way, shape, or form any player or coach's fault.
Right.
This is an athletic department issue of why the hell can you not fill your seats?
Yeah.
If you're not going to fill Chrysler for Michigan, Michigan State, when both are ranked inside the top 15 on a Sunday, I can't help you.
The UCLA one continues to be baffling to me too. It's been like that for a long time, and they've been good for a long time. It's just, I don't know. It doesn't make a lot of sense.
Right. They get 5,500 a game. That's less than that. That's like 5,490.
Mm-hmm.
That's the average. Come on. That again, and that's not any player's fault. That's not Corey Close's fault. That's someone in the athletic department's got to figure it out. Because some 6 teams have. Like even Iowa last year, everyone expected them to take a step back. Caitlin Clark is gone. They sold out every game. And they've sold out every game since Caitlin Clark has left. It's not just her.
Yeah.
Iowa State, Maryland, Sunday. I'm off my soapbox now, I promise, for whatever's left of the show. Round 2, Ohio State, Maryland. Buckeyes won January 11th. Jelani Cambridge flirted with a triple-double. Maryland has seemed to right the ship.
Yeah. They've really turned it around the last few games. I think a couple back-to-back wins that they've strung together. They've played themselves right back into the hosting conversation. I think I have them in that last spot right now. I mean, a win over Ohio State for Maryland, I think, would do wonders for trying to secure a spot in the top 16, where I think Ohio State has some wiggle room. I think they are pretty clearly above the rest of that chaos at kind of the bottom of it, unless they go on with some kind of skid here to finish out the season. So I think an important one for Maryland, but at the same time, like it just feels like Ohio State's been rolling. Like this, they've found something after the start of the season, and it's been hard to beat them.
Yeah, they kind of no-showed at Iowa, but otherwise they've also righted the ship. 4 straight all double-digit wins. Nebraska, at Washington, at Oregon. Can Maryland score enough in this game? They've only hit 80 in regulation once since that first Ohio State game. Buckeyes get to 80 fairly routinely. I will say Maryland, though, their balance has been much better the last little bit. 5 in double figures against Michigan State, 4 Nebraska, and Addie Mack was not any of those players. She struggled mightily the last few. But as opposed to even a few weeks ago, where if Mack or Okanawa or Garzone played poorly, they were in trouble. Well, suddenly, like Randy Wilson came back in double figures. Ozzy Mamadou doesn't score in double figures much. She did against Nebraska. Heck, Mir McLean scored in double figures against Michigan State. Like if you're going to get that, you can overcome one of your big 3 struggling. So yeah, I like the balance of Maryland. Maybe just they went through that midseason blip of maybe they hit a brief wall with all the injuries, or maybe they've just kind of grown into their roles. But yeah, I like Maryland. Wisconsin, Washington, Oregon. Oh, someone's got to be an 8 seed and someone's got to be a 7 seed. We'll find out who on Sunday. And then 2 SEC games, Kentucky, Ole Miss. I think Kentucky has too many losses to host. They have 6 already, 7 already. What do they got?
Yeah, I think they
have 7 already. Yeah. And unless they run the table, but like that's just too many losses.
Yeah, I agree. I think barring, like you said, them running the table or like a whole bunch of teams just like crashing out for these last few weeks, which I don't think will happen. I think they're kind of out. They're not fully out, but it's unlikely.
Yeah, because they close Ole Miss, Vandy, Auburn, and South Carolina. They're going to pick up.
Yeah,
they're going to pick up at least 3 losses, including the SEC tournament. So that's way too many. But flip side of that is they're fully healthy, and I sure as heck don't want to see them as a 3 seed if they're my 6 seed.
Yeah.
I still don't know what to make of Ole Miss. Of all the teams in this hosting conversation, I have no idea. They look really good against Texas. They beat Oklahoma. They beat Vandy. They no show at Georgia. They probably should have won at Alabama. They didn't. The offense looks hard to come by at times, but we'll learn. I think, because they start a stretch of Kentucky, Tennessee, LSU, and South Carolina. So we'll learn.
Yeah. I think if they're going to host, they've got to pick up some important wins in that stretch. The thing that, like, I can't put them in that, like, hosting group right now. Like, they're certainly in the conversation, but I can't put them there with 2 quad 1 wins. Like, it's just simply not enough quad 1 wins to be hosting right now.
And then apologies. Alabama plays Oklahoma. Apologies to Alabama. Last week, we whiffed on their 1-point win against Ole Miss that came down to the last play in a top 25 matchup. That's my fault. Bugs me because I spent like an hour watching the second half and preparing all these things to talk about it. And I just completely, like, I think I missed it on my little document here. And once I scrolled past it, we never scrolled back up. So apologies to Alabama. Nice win. Then you lost to A&M.
Don't do that. Yeah.
So I don't feel as bad as I did on my drive home Friday. I don't even know what I was thinking about, but I went, wait a second. We never talked about that game. Oh, that's bad. And then they didn't validate me, but yeah, don't lose to Texas A&M. Come on.
Yeah. That hurts them. Again, another team that was in the coasting conversation, but like that Texas A&M loss very well could be what keeps them off of it.
Georgia Vandy Sunday. Georgia, they've surprised me all year. I don't think they can hang. They only score 67 a game in SEC play. You're going to have to score probably 80. I don't see that. TCU West Virginia should be really, really fun. West Virginia, I think, is in first place in the Big 12 now. It's it's a log. There's like 4 teams at the top, but that's very impactful.
Yeah. Also, I would have said that like West Virginia was going to win the Big 12. I mean, granted, it's Texas Tech is right there with like 10-3 too. Like if anyone in November told me that Texas Tech was going to win the Big 12, I looked at them like they had 8 heads, but here we are.
Yeah, true. And then ACC is very important. ACC Sunday. Stanford, Virginia. Both teams have work to do. Syracuse, Clemson. Win will go a long way for both teams. Notre Dame, NC State. That's not necessarily bubbly, but it's, that's always high profile when Notre Dame plays a team that's been to a Final Four the last couple of years. Cal, Virginia Tech. Cal probably out of it, but go on a run. Beat Virginia Tech and, maybe play our way back into it. Those are important games. And I didn't mention the one that I don't want to talk about. Duke plays North Carolina on Sunday. Is there any, I haven't seen a lick of evidence to prove that this won't finish 50-49 again.
No, it probably will. I do feel like I even have less interest in the game. I mean, I generally have very little interest in Duke Carolina because it's going to be disgusting to watch. But like North Carolina just hasn't done anything for me. Like they just can't win in any of these big games. So like it's going to be like 55-45 or something. Like it's not going to be close. It's not going to be exciting, and it's going to be ugly.
They've won 8 straight. The best wins in this win streak are Syracuse in overtime and NC State. They're firmly at 6 seed-ish, but 54-46 over Georgia Tech. The overtime game against Syracuse, 77 points in 45 minutes. 61-59 over State. 53-44 over Clemson. We just saw Duke beat Louisville 59-58 or something like that, whatever it was. I mean, it can't possibly be worse than 47-38 in a Sweet 16 game. Yeah. Nothing will ever. That's the coup de grace of this rivalry. It's the same thing every time. I do know, I believe it's a sellout. I will give credit there.
Okay.
Kudos to you. It's a sellout. I hope I turn on the TV and actually see it. Just for the love of God. I don't even care if it's a blowout. 71-59 sounds great. That sounds amazing. Give it to me.
Yeah.
Monday, please. Nebraska, Iowa. Nebraska beat someone. We'll talk. Ole Miss, Tennessee on Tuesday. That's a makeup from the postponed game. From just an eye test standpoint, Ole Miss, if you want to host, go win this game by 8.
Right.
Wednesday, Texas Tech, Baylor. Maybe a surprise the first time Red Raiders won, but I don't think they're going to be taking Baylor by surprise here. Yeah. The first game was an affirmation of the fact that, all right, they're for real. Another case of, I want to see a loaded crowd. I'm not going to. First place in the Big 12 probably on the line. So that's a very impactful game Wednesday. By the way, you see this glass court thing for the Big 12 tournament they announced this week?
No, I did not, but I feel like I'm not going to like it.
Oh, you're not gonna like it. We're gonna wrap the show on a high here. They announced for the men's and women's, they are not playing on. They're playing on a glass court. Let me explain, because it is an LED lit glass floor. For the first time, it's used in major competition in the U.S. Wow. I saw the video where it's LED. You can put basically whatever you want on the floor. It's money, whatever. Everyone's poor. They need money. Blah 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 blah. So Big 12's getting money because they don't have any. Because no one has money. And of course, just
Sometimes
because of how the calendar flips, the women are going to be the test dummy. And I'm sure there's going to be something on day one where we went, boy, if only they were playing on wood. And then they'll fix it for the men's tournament because that's how it works.
Yeah. Sometimes just don't break what's not broken. Like, we don't need a glass basketball court with LED lights. Like, wood is just fine.
I'm going to miss what they did last year, though, with the 12s
Oh,
all over
God.
the floor and made the funny patterns.
Some of the ugliest courts.
On that note, folks, what are you doing for Valentine's Day, Megan? You're in the big city. You have big
I
Valentine's
am.
Day weekend plans?
We made a lunch reservation, which hopefully won't be bad. I honestly hate going out on Valentine's Day because it's just, I don't know, it's just not for me.
I got a 4-year-old. You think I go out for Valentine's Day?
Yeah.
It is on a Saturday. That's nice. It just makes it busier, but I got to work. I forgot Valentine's Day was a thing till like Tuesday. So luckily, my wife is very much, especially with a toddler, make me something. That means a lot more to her than flowers.
Yeah.
So we made something. It's a 4-year-old and dad's help. So we'll get credit. Otherwise, I got to work. Welcome to February. Welcome to college baseball season, folks. If you listen to this on the College Sports Now side, 3D is back. I don't remember the D's. I get them mixed up. David gets mad at me. 3D is back. So listen to college baseball coverage. That comes once a week. For that matter, men's show still twice a week. And on the Here Hoop Stats side, we just talk hoops. That's the only, we talk women's hoops. That's all we care about here. So Megan, enjoy your Valentine's Day lunch in New York City. Enjoy all the games this weekend. Remember, every day there's something, and we'll talk about it next week, where we'll have a top 16 to talk about.
Yes.